Hello, I'm Justin the Canadian Tuxedo. Welcome to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the new album by Pup entitled The Unraveling of Pup the Band. This is Pup's fourth studio album. The album is produced by Caddis, who's worked with The National, Japan Droids, Frightened Rabbit, and Kurt Vile. The band dials up the theatrics and bring on a sound that feels claustrophobic and super visceral. There's an interesting dichotomy of poppy melodies against aggressively yet perfectly imperfect performances. The band seems to let the drums lead the songs, which brings all sorts of quick and emotional shifts and multiple time signature and tempo changes. The band's sound dialed into madness. It's like Rush, but angry and punk. They come out with a mostly solid album that only falters towards the end a little bit. So let's dive into the album, shall we? Chords is part of a trilogy about the band falling apart and turning into a corporation. These little breaks have like a Bright Eyes meets Jeff Rosenstock vibe with piano and off-the-cuff vocal. There's something very relatable about adulthood and how some people stop listening to new music after college. It's this really great kiss-off moment before a transition that gets all messed up, before some 808s and drums and distorted 8-bit synths and blown-out guitars come in. It's a powerful and beautiful classic moment of loud bliss. It's a solid introduction to the album. Through a wash of feedback, we come into the garage pop meets pop punk meets hardcore of Totally Fine. This song sounds so sinister. There's like this big deep bass that adds something evil to the song. The song has all kinds of start and stop breaks where the guys take turns filling in the spaces with sonic chaos. There's this really odd and awesome part that sounds like Pac-Man dying. The chorus shift gears with a Blue Album era Weezer sing-along chorus. The bridge has this haunting feel with echoey guitar and deep bass, which plays these voices that elevate the emotions within the song. The drums play these wild grooves that are very unorthodox, and then the band build into this sing-along section that eventually evolves into a breakdown chorus. It's a powerful end to the song. Then we get a metamorphic emo love song from the perspective of a robot, and Robot writes a love song. The lyrics on this song are very clever. The beginning of it has this really pretty melody, but there's something kind of off-putting about it, and it makes it very unsettling. There's cool drum machine parts and airy synths and sparkly guitars. The drums come in sounding of an arena rock chorus. There are fun melodies and parts that go slightly out of tune and dissonant. I love how the drums dictate the feel of the song so much, which gives the different sections such distinction. And I love how incredibly nerdy the song is. The lyrics are quirky yet clever. This is a solid single off the album, and it's just a lot of fun to listen to. On Matilda, we get these jangly indie rock vibes. The song feels a bit like Colorado, but louder. The song has a swung groove, but the lead guitar plays off the vocal in the first verse in a really fun way. The pre-chorus shifts nicely with pretty guitar arpeggios and emotive vocals. The chorus comes in with this big poppy sound with distorted vocals. It's kind of reminiscent of Jeff Rosenstock. There's some really cool interplay with the guitars. They kind of harmonize and bounce off of each other. The bridge breaks down and has this cool roomy bass sound before this fuzzy lead comes in. And then when the band kicks in, they come busting in. Oh yeah! Adding gang vocals and feedback and pianos. It's so exhilarating, and this song is so catchy. It's a certified banger. Next up, we have the song Relentless. This song sounds very uplifting in the intro before sinking into absolute darkness. During the verse, we have this really cool syncopated rhythm between the vocals and the band. The guitars have this really cool harmonic interplay. The pre-chorus has this floating in space feel. The quiet moments are so captivating and powerful because of how loud the rest of the record is. It really shows their strength and dynamics. The song is beautiful, but like has a little bit of ugliness to it. The last chorus has this triumphant energy and this new variation on the chords. It's a great midpoint closer. We get part 2 of the 4 chords trilogy with 5 chords. This is a short interlude that plays into the satire of the album. I love how these interludes sound. They're kind of funny and weird. Then out of nowhere, Waiting comes in with this drop D high school riff. It works better than it really should, and it feels so perfectly out of place. The verse has this vicious riff and a shout sung vocal. We get this big open chorus with an anthemic gang vocal. There's some really cool distorted piano here too, and some blown out acoustic guitar parts. And I love the chuggy second verse. And then there's some female guest vocalist in the bridge, and it kind of sounds like 70s prog rock, which is crazy. There's this wacky riff that sounds like it could have been out of like a retro sci-fi flick before this like bonkers and off-kilter solo comes in. It's a really strange track, but it's a lot of fun, and I love just how bizarre it sits in the track listing. Okay, the next song, Habits, was a bit of a head trip to listen to. It has all these like crazy time signature changes throughout it, and it demanded my attention. I actually had to like call up some of my buddies about it because I couldn't figure out what time signature it was in, and I needed to know. These are the kinds of things that keep me up at night. The intro is filled with these weird synths and drum machines. The verse shifts into a swing beat with some clean guitars and some longing vocal. The pre-chorus gets nice and small before bringing in the band for the anthemic chorus. The second chorus has a really cool groove between the band. The bridge in this song is nuts. There are several polyrhythms layered on top of each other, and then another building big refrain, and then a chorus with a big choir. This song is a really impressive composition. It's very complicated, and I would love to see them play this live. Cutting Off the Corners is a ballad that sounds a bit like a Weaker Thans track, but with a more aggressive approach. The chorus has this cigarette lighter raising kind of feel to it, and it's something that the audience would definitely sing along to. There's a really cool guitar solo in this song that has a sort of Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. vibe to it. The vocals towards the end are powerful and filled with conviction, while the big shouting choir blows the whole thing way up. It's a really great break in an otherwise really aggressive album. Grim Reaping has this post-punk feel. There's some cool bass tones off the hop and some distorted vocals. This song is not the strongest on the album, but it's still pretty decent. It kind of makes me think of Block Party with some hardcore influence. There's definitely some of the sound of earlier pop albums in here too. The bridge is really epic with these big blasting horns and gang choir vocals. It's not as bombastic, but that's only because all the other tracks on this album are so strong. We get a quick interlude with the last of the 4 Chords trilogy with part 3, Diminishing Returns. It goes by real quick. And then we go into Pup the Band Incorporated, Files for Bankruptcy. What's with all these bands and last songs having long titles? Didn't we get rid of this in the emo days? There's this blistering riff right off the hop that gives me some sort of single mothers vibes. The pre-chorus sounds like it shifts time signatures before everything kind of skitters off. I love that this song sounds like it's fighting with itself to keep it together, which is very fitting given the album's subject matter. There's a poppy chorus before bursting into a squealing saxophone solo.
Saxophone, saxophone.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving that saxophones are having a comeback. It's like about time. The band drops out for a soft-sung bridge before crashing into the ever-brooding chaos to play us out. By the end of the song, it feels unresolved and uncomfortable. And maybe that's the point. I like it. It goes out like a lion. All in all, I think this album is mostly solid, with just a few tracks towards the end that aren't as amazing. The musicianship on this album is phenomenal. This is music that demands your attention. There is nothing subtle or casual about it. Pup do a really great job of falling apart on purpose. I'm feeling like I'm gonna give this album 4 denim jackets out of 5. There's lots to unpack, and aside from a couple not as stellar tracks, this album is absolute chaotic bliss. Thanks for watching. If you like what you're seeing, you can like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments about albums that you think I should check out or albums you think I should review next. Stay weird, my friends, and I'll catch you on the B-side.